Anurag Singh is with us. He's managing partner at Ansid Capital. Anurag, good to have you with us here. Thank you for your time. Prashant this side. Uh, just a quick word on the impact of US elections. Who's better for Indian equities, specifically, Anurag, in your opinion? Trump or Harris?
Prashant, morning. Monday morning to everyone. Prashant, I don't know. I was surprised when I hear a very comfortable pro Kamala positive voices. Right? I don't understand the economics in that sense. So first of all, we are based in US. For US markets, of course, Trump is better, right? And we saw that between 2016 and 2020. Even for Asia Pac, Prashant, I think here is what most markets underestimate. If Trump comes, it'll be kind of, we can pretty much assume that all the wars and geopolitical risk that can, go towards, some sort of settlement, right? Whether it is Middle Eastern war, whether it is Russia, Ukraine, and all of that. And I think if that happens, I'm sure that's going to be very, very positive for global market. So I think people just underrate the Trump's positive movements that can kick off, once he assumes the power. That said, Prashant, I don't know what the media says and what kind of media is getting circulated in India. But assume everyone is biased. But my sense is Trump is headed for a very strong victory. Now, I'm not a pollster. I'm not a political expert. But the feel is that the people have had enough of, the current administration.
Yeah, Anurag, you put it well. Everyone is biased. No, absolutely. Just one thing, though, with Trump, and I completely agree with you. Maybe a better outcome for all these conflicts around the world. Maybe you will be able to get at least one, if not more, these conflicts to an end quickly. But the other thing is trade, tariffs, right? Now he's talked about matching tariffs and higher tariffs, not just for China, but matching tariffs for everyone. So if you want to sell in the US, we'll impose the same tariffs that you impose on US goods into any country. The other is, I mean, most are saying and those who agree with your point of view, that the dollar will be higher between 3 and 5% if Trump were to win. So how does that square for emerging markets? Anurag, go on.
So let's look at tariffs, right? Again, I think on media here, we quickly see the economists on the left calculating, 10% to 50% tariffs on flat tariffs on all countries, all products, and then they come up with some number. I think this tariff thing is just a bargaining chip from Trump's side. He's a deal maker, but at the same time, he's not the one who will kill businesses, and certainly not the US businesses, right? So in that sense, I think we can assume some pragmatism that he is willing to negotiate with countries, country by country. And of course, we don't assume that, US will become a, export surplus country. That's not going to happen. Things will keep coming from China and rest of the world as they do, right? So it is just to position that, look, I'm not going to give a free run to everyone. But I don't think it's going to be a blanket move or something like that. Outside of immigration, I think everything else will be very pragmatic and very, country by country, right? So that's on tariffs. Let's look at the dollar. Prashant, dollar is just mimicking the 10-year yields in US. I think as long as the 10-year yield keeps rising, and that's a seasonal thing in the last quarter, I think it will stay strong. But eventually, it will have to follow what happens within Europe and vis-a-vis the 10-year yield in US and rest of the world, right? So my sense is dollar will continue to stay stronger, mostly because European economies have their own struggles and they are really struggling between how to balance this. We saw the UK budget. There is a gap there and 10-year yields are rising there. So I think it's more a function of relatively where you stand, and US is still doing better there.
Anurag, hi. Good to have you on the show. So let's talk where you're putting money. Give us a sense on the portfolio mix now, and how much is it US equities? Are you putting some money to work here in India? And would you change anything depending on whether it's Trump or Harris? And we'll have the answers by Wednesday morning, right?
So Surabhi, I look at Indian markets. I understand there is a lot of money to be made in Indian markets, and there is, and there'll continue to be. But I think sitting here in US, you need to have that very fine sense especially most of the money in Indian markets is now being made in mid and small caps. Large caps being, having attained the sense of entitlement and the evaluation that they can. So my money mostly right now is positioned in US, largely because of the valuation comfort that we have out here. And we continue to like, within US, we continue to like technology, financials, communication, and discretionary, right? There is a lot of money to be made once Trump, if there is a Trump victory, banks will particularly do well. Energy may not do well because, look, there will be more drilling, so more oil consumption. Healthcare by default does well all the time, either administration that comes in.
Okay, Anurag, thank you very much for joining us. We just hope that we actually get the results by Wednesday morning, which is by this time here in India, and it's not, it doesn't go into a spiral and then we have to wait for a few days. Hopefully it's a clean one, right? And we'll see, and we'll chat again. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18.